The Timeline is a Blue Wire podcast. Welcome to the Timeline of Phoenix Suns podcast. My name is Mike, here with Sam. How you doing, Sam?
Hello. We had a busy week. I would say a very busy week of Suns basketball, a very productive week for the organization and us alike. I think we have a lot to talk about this week, actually. It's kind of refreshing.
Yeah, basketball's back. We get to watch it and talk about it. Like, we have opportunities to talk about real basketball. We're coming off of yesterday. We're recording this Monday night. Yesterday, the Suns beat the Denver Nuggets in a game where Jokic played 30 minutes, and the combination of Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, Nurkic, and Grayson Allen played 0 minutes, and Tyus Jones played 0 minutes, and Bradley Beal, of course. So, like, a whole bunch of the Suns guys didn't play. The Nuggets tried, and the Suns won on the back of Ryan Dunn, who was the leading scorer in that game. And let me say, just to tee you off here, Sam, you talked a lot about how much more fun having a young, player that you can root for on the team was going to be. And I agreed with you the whole time we were talking about this during the offseason. I think I still underestimated just how much fun it can be. It really is fun to have somebody that's really coming into their own and seeing them play well. And who knows how long it'll last, right? But right now we're in the middle of it. It's very fun.
There's so many aspects of it, and Dunn was obviously the guy in that game against Denver, but Oso has had a really good preseason too. Both of them have had their moments. And I think it's several things. It's the potential, obviously, but also, so much has been written about these guys and so much has been prescribed about what their games will be, and these are what their strengths are and these are what their weaknesses are. And we're seeing, especially with Ryan Dunn, kind of maybe disproving a lot of that in real time, in record time, you could maybe say, with how fast Ryan Dunn has come into the league and shot threes. So there's that aspect of it, and then there's also just they play with pride. These guys are not in a typical situation, maybe for a lottery pick where you go into a team and the organizational structure is all out of whack and there are no veterans and maybe you're anticipating, you're going to win 25 games that year, right? That's not the situation that Ryan Dunn and Oso are in. They're tossed right into the fire and they're guarding LeBron James and Anthony Davis and Nikola Jokic and Cade Cunningham and, the premier offensive players of the other team every night, while also being asked to make an offensive impact themselves. And it's they could make a name for themselves this year, right? That's what's so fun about it is KOC is already out there talking about Ryan Dunn might be the steal of the draft. There's already national punditry about Ryan Dunn in preseason, and that's because he plays for the Phoenix Suns and because he's kicking ass against the Denver Nuggets in preseason, right? That wouldn't be the type of coverage he'd be getting if he was on the Washington Wizards right now. So it's really fun for those guys because it means they can create names for themselves early on in their careers, but obviously it's super fun for us to cover too.
It's fun for us to cover, and it gives, honestly, it raises the Suns' ceiling. As a team.
Yeah, I mean,
that's
also,
the main thing it does.
That's the most important thing.
Yeah,
for sure.
because if he's good right away, which who knows, I'm gonna keep prefacing that with that. I like overreacting. I have fun doing this, but who really knows what it's gonna look like 10, 15 games from now? But if he is good right away, as good as he's been in this preseason, the overall ceiling of this team becomes a lot higher because they don't have a lot of players at his height. Ryan Dunn specifically, Oso Ighodaro important too, but the stuff that Ryan Dunn brings is stuff that the Suns don't have. They really just don't have tall wing defenders that are uber athletic, and they haven't had one since Mikal Bridges, I guess.
Since Mikal Bridges, yeah.
And to have somebody who has that potential now, it's one thing to say he just has the defensive potential. Obviously, the offense is the thing that could keep him on the floor for 25, 30 minutes a night. I mean, there's worlds where he's starting at some point if things go wrong in the starting lineup, and right for him, at the very least, if guys miss time, he's going to start. Like, that's what happened when Devin Booker missed a preseason game. So the overall ceiling just gets so much higher if both of these guys are playable, but if specifically one of them hits right away and becomes an effective player. And it is a nice situation. Now, you're talking about the importance of him compared to what it would be in Washington. It is a nice situation to come in and say, yes, he was the leading scorer in the quote-unquote Phoenix Suns versus the Denver Nuggets game, but it wasn't really the Suns, right? He's not asked to do that. He's asked to be a role player right away. And look, the confidence in the shot, the fact that he's taking them, it can't go undersold. Like, that's really important to have somebody that's just willing to take 11 threes in a preseason game right off the bat.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's really important.
So you're 100% right. You're saying like this is not going to be his typical role on off. Well, I mean, we are just going to want him to shoot threes. Like, he took 11 threes in that preseason game. He wasn't self-creating a ton. There were a couple examples. I think one, he took a handoff and like tried to go right at Jokic and tried to dunk it and missed. But it's like, there's some self-creation examples of him kind of playing off that free-flowing offense that I think he'll look good there eventually. But yeah, we just wanted him to take threes. And he doesn't have to shoot 45% like he's doing in preseason. If I tweeted last night, if he can shoot 35% on wide open threes, I'd be more than happy with that, right? So again, we'll see where he is in 10 or 15 games. I think, here's the thing, he doesn't need to score a lot of points to make an impact on this team, but the fact that he can go out and do that against the Nuggets A squad and give Michael Malone fits. Like, Michael Malone was pissed yesterday. This was also what was so funny to me about this game. It was a national TV game.
Yeah.
It's a national TV game where Michael Malone, and both coaches, but Malone has to do the end of quarter. I forget if it was the first quarter or the third quarter, but he has to do, I think it was the end of the third quarter, actually, because that's what it was. The Nuggets came out and laid a complete egg in the third quarter, gave up 37 points to the Suns, played no defense.
A quarter that Jokic played the entire quarter.
Yes. And then Malone has to come out and say, we didn't play any defense, and like be actively pissed at his team. And he mentioned the fact, he's like, we're losing to their C squad, I think he said. Mm-hmm. So you've got this championship coach ripping his hair out. That has to feel great if you're Ryan Dunn, right? And the other thing I'd say about Dunn, we don't want to get carried away with the prognostications and whatever, and like, who knows what he's going to do offensively this year? Maybe he averages 8 points per game, right? Mm-hmm. But even if he does, he's going to get a 30-point game at some point, right?
Yeah.
Like, doesn't it just
feels
feel
like it? Yeah.
Doesn't it just feel like I don't know if he's going to have an efficient offensive season or not, but it feels like Ryan Dunn's going to have a random explosion one night out of nowhere. And it's going to be because, like, look at how confident he already is that this is a guy where everyone says he can't shoot, and he's taking 11 threes, and, like, he's taking step-back threes over Nikola Jokic. That's what he's doing in game number 4 of preseason. So, like, he's going to have some explosions offensively at some point.
The whole stat line deserves to be read, too, I think, in that game. 20 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals, 3 blocks, 1 turnover, plus 16 in the box score. He was the best player on the Suns for a game. And that's pretty crazy considering he's never actually played a minute in the NBA. It's exciting. It's an exciting time to be a fan and see somebody who was that successful, even if it's just in a preseason game. And it's just something to watch. It gives us something to root for outside of course, what we're always going to do. Please win, Suns. Please win, which is what we're saying during every game,
a championship, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, now we have the opportunity to root for someone that has a longer-term impact on the team. He's somebody who could be on the team for a long time, somebody that we could root for for a long time. And it's fun. It's really fun.
It's interesting. I hadn't really thought about, like, what am I in this for, right? Like, obviously I'm a Suns fan. I want them to win a championship. But it's like, what are the narratives that are keeping me glued to my screen this season beyond just let's win a championship. And I think there's a couple of things. Like, one thing, I saw someone post this to Reddit the other day, just tracking the numbers, but Devin Booker, if he has a healthy season, knock on wood, should become the franchise all-time leading scorer at some point this season. That's definitely one of the things like keeping me interested, beyond just the wins and losses and the usual stuff. So I think it's that. I want Devin Booker to take that baton. And then after that, I would say probably the next thing I'm most interested in is these rookies and just having that promise. So it really does just an enormous, enormous job of keeping fans invested, I think.
Oso Ighodaro played 26 minutes in this game, 4 points and 2 rebounds. Not the most impressive game for him. Ryan Dunn really took all the shine there for the rookies. But a couple other things I wanted to point out from this game that I thought were nice to see. First of all, Bol 4 for 6 from the 3-point line. There was a moment there in preseason where I'm like, oh no, Bol can't shoot anymore. He hadn't made a 3-point shot.
I remind everyone...
Is not shooting that much, but yeah.
Last week's episode, all three of us, I had to be talked into it, but all three of us, including Max, went over on Mike's prompt of Bol shooting, what was it,
38 and a half maybe? Or
38.5% from deep. That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's high. Mm-hmm. So we need him to be able to shoot. Yeah, it was good to see him have a comfortable second half, at least. He was good in the second half.
He was good,
I have some other things to say about
14
Bol,
points,
but
8 rebounds.
I think I'll save it.
Yeah, is it related to his role on this team now? Because I think part of why it took a while to see him really get going too is not a ton of minutes played in the previous game with the amount of players that were out in this game. Because it wasn't just the big three, Nurkic, Grayson, Tyus Jones. Josh Okogie also had, I think, a hip problem in a previous game, so Josh Okogie wasn't playing too. That's somebody who could potentially take some of Bol's minutes and didn't in this game. So Bol had the opportunity to play 28 minutes in this game and found a shot, got going a little bit, and it is still shooting wide open shots. Like, this is what we expect him to do, maybe more wide open once he actually plays in the regular season, but was hitting him 4 for 6. I think a big game for him. Happy to see him get going.
Had an expanded offensive role too in this game in a way that we don't typically see from him because he's sharing the floor with guys like KD or Book or Beal. Like, he was taking a lot of handoffs in this game. He ran a pick and roll with Mason Plumlee, I think, and created an assist for him with like a really nice bounce pass. So Bol had some good moments, but I am going to save some other comments for when we get to real or fake.
Okay.
I have some other stuff to say.
All right. Another thing I wanted to point out, Monte Morris's best game so far. Obviously got the start, got to play a lot of minutes in this game. 20 points, 7 assists, 2 steals. Really putting a lot of effort in defensively. Only 1 turnover. These point guards the Suns have had so far are living up to their assist to turnover ratios so far for the Suns. And in this game in particular, there was not a lot of shot creation, right? I mean, you look at the starting lineup, it's Monte Morris, Ryan Dunn, Royce O'Neal, Mason Plumlee, and Bol. That was the starting 5 for this game. And nobody really can create a shot outside of Monte Morris. So his role in this particular game was really important. And I thought he did a great job. He just did a really good job. It was nice to see him get going too. Monte Morris didn't have a great season last year for those who didn't really watch. Well, even if he did, he didn't play much with the Timberwolves. So it would be really great for the Suns for him to sort of have a bounce back year and play like he did in previous seasons. And this game was an example of how he can be that good. So hopefully this is something that gets him going and he can carry that into the regular season. But I've been really impressed with him so far. I actually think he puts a lot of effort in defensively too.
Yeah, and also, I think a lot of people have this idea of, Monte and Tyus are coming in. They have to be the point guards, so that means they have to run pick and rolls every possession and whatever. And I think both of them have proved in preseason that that's absolutely not the case. Monte looks really, really comfortable, turning the keys over to, like, if Oso's on the floor, having Oso bring the ball up the court and run a play, and he's going to stand in the corner and he's going to play off ball. And you don't want him doing that all the time, right? Because you don't want to, like, take away what his best skill and attribute is, but it's the fact that he can play off other players and hit corner threes and attack in the mid-range. And both of them can just do a lot of stuff offensively, but I've also been impressed.
It's going to be nice for the Suns to have, like, Tyus Jones has been really good off the ball, like really, really good off the ball so far in preseason. But just to have two point guards who can play all 48 minutes if they need it in any particular game. I don't know how much Monte Morris is going to play. I think it'll be interesting to see how much he's going to play. But the fact that he's capable is going to be great for the Suns. Another thing I wanted to point out before we get to real or fake too, tough preseason for Jalen Bridges, man. He's 1 for 6 in this game and was shooting some open shots and just has not really shown. He was 12. Good at Summer League. Just really tough preseason for him so far.
Yeah. I thought about saving this for real or fake too, actually, but he's 1 for 12 from deep overall in preseason, 1 for 14 from the field overall. I think what's tough with Jalen Bridges is just like where he's at in his stage of offensive development. He's in a low usage role. That's like they're not asking him to do anything other than shoot threes. And so that's fine, but it means the stuff that he does, which he's actually pretty good at, like I've been watching him, just like watching him defensively off the ball. I think he moves around and rotates pretty well, and he's usually in the right place as a team defender. But none of that stuff that like he should get credit for is going to show up in the box score with what he's doing so far. So he's in a really low usage role. He's basically just running up and down the floor, getting cardio, and then missing corner threes or wing threes. And like people aren't going to turn to be on his side until he starts making some of those threes. But, you know, I don't think all hope is lost for Jalen Bridges. I don't know what your if your evaluation is basically similar there. But
yeah, I mean,
he'll be okay.
Basically every shot he's taken is a 3-point shot, right? And with guys like that, a small sample size doesn't do them any justice anyway. So it's tough to actually, you know, draw anything from this. And you could say the same for some of the other guys that are shooting well. And we'll talk about that in a minute.
I do feel better about it being a two-way contract, I guess, than you know that they didn't have to use their second round pick on him, and they got Oso, and so you know they got two of the guys that they really really wanted, and then added some of this other young talent via the two-way method. I think that's great. Because it also just takes the pressure off Bridges, right? I mean, he wants to stay in the NBA, but again, when we're talking about role, the Suns really are not asking him to do much.
Yeah.
He's touted as a defensive prospect or a 3-and-D prospect, but I don't think they're going to be asking him in the Ryan Dunn sense to be a primary point of attack defender all that often, right? They really just want him to fill the right gaps, nail his X-outs, and yeah, I think he can be pretty
shoot when
good
he's open. Yeah.
And shoot when he's open. I think he can be pretty good at that stuff.
The other two guys, and then we can move on unless you have anything that I wanted to mention, is two guys that are fighting for a roster spot in the NBA if they can get one. That's Colin Gillespie and Ty Washington, who both had a good game. I mean, like, I think Colin Gillespie stands out as a guy who could just run an offense pretty well in this game. 12 points, 6 assists, 4 rebounds, 1 steal, 1 block, 2 turnovers. Overall, a pretty good game for him. He looks good. Like, he definitely looks a little too small to really just guarantee a roster spot for any team. But, like, I could just see Colin Gillespie, if he played on a bad team and the starting point guard was out, he could have a triple-double on any random day in the NBA, would be, like if he were to play. You know what I mean?
Be Michael Carter-Williams.
Yeah, like he could just
2013 Sixers.
Yeah. I've seen some people suggesting, and this is in reply to some of the tweets that I've had here, of giving him the open roster spot. Look, I think he's been good. I don't think there's any reason to give him the open roster spot. They have 2 point guards. It just doesn't make sense to me. But
can we move on to real or fake? Because I was going to ask you that question.
Okay, we can. Yes, but I just say Ty Washington real quick.
Yeah,
who's from Arizona, played in Phoenix, had a good game, and it was cool to see. That's all. I just wanted to give him a little bit of a shout out. So he had 9 points, his best game so far. Played
Ty
hard
can self-create.
Defensively. Yeah,
Ty can self-create a little bit too. You mentioned we didn't have anyone to self-create except, who did you say? Except
Morris.
Monte Morris, right? Yeah. That's who it was. Mm-hmm. And I almost was
apparently
like, well,
Ryan Dunn, but yeah.
Ty can get a bucket.
Yeah, it's true. You're right.
If you really need one.
Yeah, that's true.
Probably not at the NBA level super often. But
in this game, where the Nuggets weren't exactly playing like an NBA team, yeah, he could in this game, but yes.
Listen, life's all about leveling up. Whether you're handling business on the field or kicking it in your zone, You like to celebrate with cigars that match the moment. That's why you should link up with Famous Cigars to bring you a wild deal. Right now, you can grab 8 premium cigars for just $8. You heard that right. 8 top-rated cigars at $1 a stick. Top quality brands like Oliva, Romeo y Julieta, and Davidoff. Handpicked just for you and worth over $80. Hit up famouscigars.com/cam and lock in this exclusive deal. While you're there, check out their insane selection of premium cigars, all shipped fresh and fast from their massive 20,000 square foot humidor. That's half a football field. Famous Cigars has been in the game since 1939 and still family owned. So celebrate every win with the folks at Famous. 8 cigars for $8. famouscigars.com/cam.
Let's get to real or fake.
Okay, let's get to real or fake. Okay, so we did this in the off season, right? We were talking about stuff that happened in the off season, muscle watch, stuff like that. And we just wanted to talk about what things are real and what things are fake. And now we have a 4-game sample size of preseason games. Things have happened, and we can talk about what we think is real and what we think is fake and what can translate. Some things will be right on, some things will be wrong on. We're not going to keep track of this like we do for over-unders or anything like that.
There's no accountability here at the Timeline Podcast. We're not in charge of that.
I mean, we have 2 things that we really keep track of. Other people can keep us accountable.
The Discord is tasked with holding us accountable, I guess. If you want to hold us accountable, join Discord, sure. $6 a month.
Yeah,
the price you pay.
There's
I
one
want to
really
start.
obvious one that we have to go over. But yeah.
Well,
can
I just want to start us on Colin Gillespie just because you were just talking about him.
That's
so
fine.
I know that's not like, it's bearing the lead a little bit because I'm talking about will this guy get the 15th roster spot? But I have here just real or fake. Colin Gillespie at some point this season, so it doesn't have to be right now, will be converted to a full-time roster spot from his 2-way. And I wanted to get you on the record about that.
No, I don't think.
You think fake? You think fake?
Well, the reason
I think there's a convincing case.
Yeah, I understand he's been good. I just want to start there. I think he's been good, and I think he moves around like an NBA player. Looks like an NBA player. If the Suns ended their offseason after the Monte Morris signing instead of the Tyus Jones signing, there'd be a higher chance. But thank God they didn't do that. Yes, 100%. But the fact that they have multiple guys now who could play point guard on this team, it just makes it a lot less likely for me that we're going to see him.
Yeah, there might need to be an injury or something for it to happen. I do think Gillespie can play off ball too. I'm going to do a total nut job thing and read off his per 36 preseason stats.
Okay.
Which, predictive statistical power of this, I don't know. You guys know it all goes out the window until like December anyway, but we're just going to read off stats anyway because it's fun. Per 36, he's averaging 26 points, 6 rebounds, 8.5 assists, 2 steals, and 72% true shooting in these 4 preseason games. That is awesome. That is like better than what he was doing in the G League last year.
Yeah.
And he's doing it against actual NBA competition. And also, here's the other thing I was thinking about watching Gillespie last night.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not even a Gillespie thing as much as it's like a general team thing. Like, oh, look how awesome this is. How many guys do the Suns have on their roster right now who can execute a skip pass to the opposite corner?
Yeah, he did do that a few times. It's true.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's not just him. Well, okay. Answer the question. How many guys do the Suns have who can do that?
Booker is the best at it, right, on the team. The second best, hopefully Kevin Durant. On a good day, the turnovers have been a problem on the Suns at least. Oso Ighodaro, we've seen him do it. I think he's
maybe.
tall, right? It helps if you're tall.
He's tall. He's not in motion as often, but yeah, maybe he could do it. I don't know. A lot of his
Bradley
passing
Beal
is
could probably do it.
Brad
right?
could do it.
Yeah,
Brad could do it.
And then it might
point
end
guards.
there, right?
No,
Yeah.
I think all 3 point guards can do this. I think you're not
fair,
giving them
fair. Yeah, the point guards.
I think you're not giving them enough credit. That now, look, how often are the point guards going to come off a screen and actually get doubled or hedged or whatever? I don't know. I mean, maybe, defenses will see the value in that because if it's Colin Gillespie or if it's any of these guys, they're like 6'1", and so they might want to occasionally put a little bit more pressure.
Yeah,
on
and
the
the point
Suns'
guards
offense.
might want to take an extra dribble, other than like Devin Booker, who could just jump and fly it over.
Well, and they might have to take an extra
Yeah,
dribble
exactly.
versus Kevin Durant, who can just see over the top of what. But like my point is, these point guards have a playmaking ability, even if they're not big. They have this innate ability that Kevin Durant and even Bradley Beal just did not have last year. If I had to answer that question last season, how many guys did the Suns have who could execute a skip pass to an opposite corner? 1.5. Booker and the half was maybe KD. Maybe 2, where it's like 1/2 Brad Beal, 1/2 KD, and that adds up to 2. But like, I think the number is significantly higher this year, and that's going to be really important, especially if the other part that goes in tandem with this is who's going to be the guy sitting in that corner pocket. It's going to be typically the guy who the defense has the least respect for. Well, if that's Ryan Dunn or maybe Bull a lot of the time, and those guys are shooting like they have been in preseason, Ryan Dunn especially, then all of a sudden it's going to be real hard to find any actual weaknesses in the Suns' offense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, do you think it's possible he's going to take that last roster spot? Is that what you're thinking?
I just phrased it as, let's see who he's up against, right? So Frank Kaminsky, I think it's important to note, has not been cut yet. Diakite and Moses Wood were.
Yeah.
But Frank is still there for the last preseason game. Now, maybe that's just because they have one more preseason game and maybe Nurkic won't play again, and so they need that extra big. I think it's unlikely that Frank takes the 15th roster spot because he would need to do it right now. The other guys who are signed to two ways, it's either Gillespie, Jalen Bridges, or Ty. And I don't know. I would have been tempted to say Jalen Bridges if you asked me a week ago. But then all of a sudden, Jalen Bridges shoots 7% in preseason, and Colin Gillespie looks like prime Russell Westbrook. And now I'm not sure.
Classic
I'm not
preseason
sure.
stuff here, right?
Classic preseason stuff. I don't know. I'm going to say real for Colin Gillespie getting his two-way converted at some point just to oppose you.
Okay.
So you're saying it's fake.
Let's go to the obvious one. The Suns, as of before the games that were played tonight, I pulled these stats. Second in the NBA in three-pointers attempted per game in preseason at 46 per game. 46 per game.
Yeah,
Can you believe,
unfathomable.
first of all, that that's second? There's a team shooting more than that. The Boston Celtics, who are currently shooting 52 per game, which is unbelievable. Now, the question is that real? Can the Suns carry this in to the regular season? Now, I have a little bit of context for you on this. 11 teams last year shot over 40 three-point attempts per game in preseason. I looked at last year's preseason stats. Only one did it in the regular season.
Yeah, that was smart.
It was only the Boston Celtics. It was the only team that shot over 40.
Pace picks up in the preseason too. Like
Pace picks up.
We're excited about the Suns playing faster, I think, too. It's not just the threes. But a lot of teams emphasize that stuff in training camp, and then they play really fast for 3 games, and then it goes away.
Second thing, this year, though. Now, last year, I want to say it again, 11 teams in preseason. This year, so far in preseason, 14 teams are shooting over 40 three-point attempts per game. And that, of course, the Celtics are the only team with over 50, which is just nuts. More than half of their shots have been three-point attempts. So, the question isn't necessarily... The question is, how real is this? Because it's clearly real that they're going to try to shoot more threes. Like, there's no question. Now, whether or not they shoot over 40, I don't know. Maybe this is the year 10 teams shoot over 40. I don't know.
What was your over-under set last week? Like 36, 38?
Yes, it's 37, I think. I don't
37?
Yes.
Yeah, I took the... So they took 32 last year, if I remember correctly, and you set. Well, maybe I'm wrong about that. I'm
going to bring it up right now. Go ahead.
Okay. You set the over under at
37.5.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I mean, they're well
but
over
I'm picking up their. Yeah. Okay. So confirmed. They took 32 last year, and you set the over under at 37. And I went under.
Yeah.
I went under. And I already regret it. I think they're going to go over now. Now, are they going to do 46 a game? That feels a little extreme. I think
would
that
be
would be
insane.
That would be an unprecedented increase year over year.
That would likely lead the NBA unless the Celtics continue to do what they're doing.
Yeah, but I think Dunn has been a revelation. But it's not just him. It's guys we've already talked about. It's Tyus Jones, Monte Morris sitting in the corner, being willing to take that shot. We haven't even seen Yusuf Nurkic yet. Apparently, he's going to be taking them. I guess we'll have to believe it when we see it. But it is clear to me that they are taking Bud's message to heart, and that they are serious about implementing a more modern system. And I think it's great news. I think this is absolutely real.
I think it's real too. With one small caveat, not a ton of the big three playing together, and that is where they shot. That's where they shot the least amount of threes last year, right? It's the lineups where those three guys are playing that we really need to find ways to launch. So I'd like to see that, and they did, right? It's not saying that they didn't when those guys are playing together, but I'd like to see. Like I'm not surprised that in a game like yesterday when they played the Denver Nuggets and all the role players are playing, that those guys shoot a ton of threes. That's kind of all they do in the NBA. Role players, right? That's what they're there for. They shoot a ton of threes. That's kind of their job. So it's easy to kind of get those guys to shoot a ton of threes. Let's see the next step and how they do. And that's why I think it'll go down, but we'll see where it goes. Just on eye test, though, doesn't it? It does feel like KD and Beal and I'm not so sure about Book. Book played the fewest games of the three of them. He's only on that
played
first
2
game,
games.
he shot a ton. Like every time he caught the ball, Book's been making the most concerted effort.
KD as well, though. Like KD has taken contested or semi-contested
it's true.
catch
You're
and
right.
shoot threes without even thinking about, is this a good shot or not? It's sort of just like he's having he's processing the thought that we've always wanted him to have, which is, oh, I'm Kevin Durant. Of course it's a good shot, right? And not like it doesn't matter if the defense is coming at you, bro. That's still a good shot. It's not a better shot if you pass, one pass over to Monte Morris. You're Kevin Durant. Just take the three. And if they can get that through to him, and he really, truly, properly internalizes it, then this offense is going to cook, quite frankly.
The one that I want him to take is often he'll catch it at the 3-point line and be like semi-open, and then he'll swing it to the next guy who's like pretty open. Just shoot it, though. You're KD. You're going to make it at a higher clip than that next guy, probably. Even if they're closing out on you, just launch it. You're Kevin Durant. Just do it. We'll see if he does. Real. We're both saying real for this one. Look, I know that 46 is insane, and we'll see where that ends up landing, but that's probably not real, but somewhere around 38, 39 hopefully will be real. You got another one? I have 1, 2, 3, 4 more after this, yeah.
Okay, I did not do the level of research as you, but let's talk a little more about Bol Bol.
Okay.
I phrase these in kind of dumb segment ways, and I just kind of say the first thing that comes to mind or type out in my outline. Bol Bol is bad now, real or fake? When you say he had a bad we can say overall he had a bad preseason. And to be a little bit smarter about how we're going about this analysis, since we do pride ourselves on our expert analysis, we could talk about it not in the way of like Bol Bol is bad, but more like what is his role going to be on this team, right? I think that's probably more how you're inclined to think about it.
I think that Ryan Dunn is making it difficult to really root for more Bol Bol minutes, right? If Ryan Dunn keeps playing like he is, Bol Bol might be out of the rotation entirely without some sort of injury or blowout. And that's good. That's a good problem to have. Ryan Dunn at his ceiling is a much better player than what Bol Bol can be.
Well, Bol Bol at his ceiling, some have argued.
Wembanyama.
Some have argued is Shaq and Wembanyama combined.
I don't think he's bad. I don't think he's bad. I don't think he's been bad now. I think he'll be fine. As long as his 3-point shot continues to go, and I hate to give that kind of analysis with players, but it's just for him in particular, it's really important because he can't play center.
It's like Ryan Dunn, where teams don't respect the 3-point shot still. So a lot of times, like it's like I was just saying a few minutes ago, it's great to have all these guys who can make those skip passes now. Who's going to be the beneficiary there? It's going to be guys like Bol Bol, who they're leaving open, and he needs to be able to make that shot. Now, I will say, is Bol Bol bad now is a reductionist way of saying it, and I think absolutely not. I think he'll be fine. might he lose all of his playing time to some combination of Ryan Dunn and Royce O'Neal and Mason Plumlee, and kind of just like this platoon of bench front court players that the Suns have. Oso obviously is included in that too. Yeah, it looks like he's in real danger of that right now. Like opening night, I don't know if he has a spot in the rotation. I think he doesn't have a spot in the rotation right now. If Bud is going to play a 10-man rotation, I don't think Bol's in there. And I think you can kind of just like read it in Bud's body language too. Like Bol has, if he's not playing center, he needs to be able to survive increasingly on the perimeter as a defender. And Bud was kind of tearing his hair out with like he called a timeout in one particular instance yesterday against the Nuggets right after Bol fell asleep. This happened multiple times, but like the second time that he fell asleep on transition defense and left like a wide open outlet pass for Jokic to, I can't remember if it was Aaron Gordon or Porter Jr., but like that was Bol's assignment, and he fell asleep and just was not where he needed to be as a team defender, and that's going to be the kind of stuff that actively loses him minutes compared to a guy like Ryan Dunn, who is taking pride in every defensive possession and really wants to excel on that end. It's just tough because he's got so much offensive talent, and I feel like they're really still just scratching the surface of how they could learn to better use him and optimize him offensively. I still think he has a lot of value to be sort of unearthed on that end. But yeah, his defense is frustrating sometimes.
Does he?
I still want to believe that there's a version of Bol who is an effective screener. He's never done that. He
slips the screen, I would say 95%.
99% of the time because his tiny little hips. No one's gonna get stuck. No one's gonna get stuck on those hips. He's the anti-Nurkic, right? When he sets the screen, but like it's tough too because like, okay, so that's great. He slips the screen. What happens after he slips the screen? He catches it in the short roll. Do you trust Bol as a playmaker / dribbler because he also has this loose handle in the short roll? Well, the beauty of it is, like if his strides are so long. If he's one step away from the basket when he catches in the short roll, okay, that's great. Like I think that's the best version of what Bol can be offensively because he's basically already at the basket and he's got phenomenal touch around the rim. But do you trust him to make plays for others? Like I said, he had a good assist to Mason Plumlee yesterday. I see flashes of it sometimes, and I want to believe that there's more there, but to ask him to do it consistently is a lot to ask for.
If he can, there's going to be times where he's going to be needed to play. Yeah, they're going to have injuries. No doubt. They're going to have times where he just has to play, and I think he'll have the opportunity to show his value during those times. He might not be in the rotation right away, but I'm looking forward to watching him. You ready to talk about Ryan Dunn's shooting now? I feel like we buried this one.
Well, we talked about it in the context of yesterday's game, but yeah, let's talk about like, is it real?
It's real or fake? I mean, honestly, this is what this was made for. This kind of segment, right? A couple of stats on that. 2, 1. Ryan Dunn currently leads the Suns in 3-point attempts per game, and then 2, he's shooting 44% on those shots. So 2 parts to this. Is he going to launch?
He's going to launch.
I'm not saying he's going to lead the Suns in 3-point attempts per game.
No.
Maybe per minute because he might be the most open. But, on a per game, probably not. And then 2, what can he shoot? I mean, like this is one of those things where it's like it's 4 games and he's shooting 44% in 4 games. But he shot a lot in those 4 games, the most on the team. He's shot the most 3-point attempts on the Suns and he's shooting 44%. Like that cannot be understated.
If Ryan Dunn
but it's
shoots
4 games.
No, okay, let's just say the 44% part is not real.
No.
If he shoots 44% on like 7 attempts a game as a rookie,
right.
OKC, Boston, it's over. Like you guys can sit down. We got this one. This one's going to us. Okay? Because
but
we
he's
just
not gonna, right. Yeah.
Well, I guess. Yeah, cuz then we're not talking about him as Herb Jones. We are talking about him as Kawhi Leonard at that point, right? If like if this guy has truly just come into the league and fixed his shot that fast, you'd really be questioning, like, okay, what other potential is there to his offensive game that just every scout missed, evidently. But yeah, he's probably not going to shoot 44%. Sorry to tell you guys. I do think he's going to take a lot of them, and he's going to play with confidence. I mean, even Josh Okogie's looking at Ryan Dunn right now and thinking, Jesus Christ, I wish I had this guy's audacity on offense. Like, he has an audaciousness to the way he plays. So I would say that this is half real.
Yeah, I think that's the way to think about it, right? And it's two separate stats. It's 3-pointers attempted, and then how many of them go in. And it's easier to believe in the attempts than it is to believe in the percentage at this point.
The other thing is just, like, I'm not a crazy person. Like, I haven't slowed down every single attempt that he's taken in preseason to, like, really own in on the mechanics and are they the same every time. Like, I couldn't tell you that. But I will say the release looks quick, like way quicker than I expected in terms of how by the end of that Denver game, they were closing out. At the start of preseason, no one's going to close out on Ryan Dunn. But now that he's done it 3 or 4 games, they're starting to close out like a little bit on him.
Yeah.
And he's taking contested threes, and he's getting that release off way faster than I expected. So that's impressive. And yeah, I mean, it's just I never would have expected this much improvement from him so fast. And also, the other thing I was going to say, his feet are set. He's catching the ball ready to release. Like, you could just tell he's put a lot of work into this. Mm-hmm.
I'm excited. You can't really undersell that. It's exciting. Let me give you another one.
Okay, so are you saying it's also half real? The percentage is not real, but the attempts are real?
I think we're on the same page for that one, yeah.
What do we consider a success percentage-wise?
I mean, you said 35 in the first segment. I think that's good,
I definitely consider that a success.
It's not like you're not talking about Kawhi Leonard at that point, which I'm not saying you should be, right? But like if he shoots 37 or above, it's a home run. Home run. Like he should have been picked top 5 at that point in this draft. Maybe first overall. That's when I start making those claims on Twitter, depending on how bad those top 5 picks are.
Can I remind you what a former Suns fan favorite, Mikal Bridges, Mikal Bridges, shot 34 his rookie season.
I looked it up during the playback because I thought about the same thing. And while I mean,
if he shoots 34, that's like, all right, you could do it. You could play.
Yeah.
Like, his defense is really good, man. Yeah. If you shoot 34, yeah, you could play. It's if he's
especially
shooting
if you
sub
shoot 7
30
a game, right? And you're just launching. Yeah.
It's really if Dunn is like shooting sub 30, that's when you have to start to worry about, like, okay, can we really justify playing this guy? 33, 34, above that, that's the sweet spot.
Yeah.
We're in the green.
Yeah. Let's see. Here's one. Last year, the Suns were 25th in the NBA in turnovers per game and are currently 10th in preseason in turnovers per game. A massive improvement, up 15 spots, but it's preseason. Is this real or fake?
It's real. This is the easiest one to say it's real. Yeah. Now, I would say, if you had this misguided notion, it's easy to come up with this misguided notion, I think, that says, oh, the Suns added Tyus Jones, the Suns added Monte Morris. These guys have the best assist-turnover ratio of all time. Therefore, there's no reason the Suns shouldn't be number one, right, on the backs of those guys, which is a little bit of a flawed proposition because, and it helps to watch the games, right? But it's like, now that we've seen how they play, again, Tyus and Monte are really, really good at what they do, and they're a huge reason why they are now top 15 in turnovers. But they're playing off ball all the time, right? Like Book and KD and even Oso and Nurkic, when he comes back, they're going to be initiating plays and they're going to be more turnover prone than those 2 point guards are. So it's realistic for them to get into the top 15. It's even realistic, I would say, for them to be right where they are right now, which is top 10. If you want them to be like top 3 or top 5, that's where I'd say maybe might be a little more difficult. But being top 10, totally real.
Top 10 is pretty real. I even think it could go up from there. I think there has been some turnovers. So like they just played a game where they didn't play most of the starters, and the starters, don't get me wrong, can turn the ball over too, and there has been some problems with that. But I think with adding point guards to those lineups, it's going to be really beneficial. And somebody like Devin Booker doesn't turn it over a lot. He had a career high and close to a career high in assists, and his turnovers went down last year.
Yeah, he's gotten better every single year at it.
So, yeah, we're going to track that one. I think it's going to be an interesting one to track throughout the season. I have another team stat, but I'll let you go next.
Well, do I have any left?
If you don't, I have more.
Hold on. We covered Ryan Dunn. We covered the threes. We covered Bol, and we covered Colin Gillespie. Yeah, that's all I had.
Okay.
So what else do you have?
They're currently in preseason. Well, actually, let's talk about last year first. Do you remember where the Suns ranked in free throws attempted per game last year?
I don't remember off the top of my head. Can I guess?
Yes.
Like 20th, maybe?
Free throws attempted per game. The Suns ended the season 6th.
Oh, whoa. Okay.
In the NBA.
I must be thinking about a couple years ago they were really bad, and then I guess they did improve.
Kevin Durant, man.
That's the KD effect. Yeah, that's totally what it is.
It makes a huge difference to have KD on the team. And even when the rules kind of changed, at least in the regular season, they were still giving him a lot of calls. So far, in preseason, 29th. They're 29th in free throws attempted per game. And I was thinking about this roster as I was looking at that stat. Kind of feels like they're not going to go to the line a lot.
Well,
but it's Devin Booker and it's Kevin Durant, right? And that's kind of it. And look, that's how most teams are.
But that's what the team per game. That's what the team was last year too, right?
Yeah.
What's the difference this year?
Well, I think if Oso Ighodaro comes in place, he's kind of free throw. Like there's just no free throws coming from him, right?
Yeah, no. If he's going to take that,
the other big difference,
Sam, I promise.
Attempted, right? If they're just launching threes, you don't get fouled on those much.
Where did Boston finish in free throws last year? You're right in general, but I feel like there are exceptions to the rule where teams that really take the Morey ball style to
26th.
Were they? Okay, so not Boston. What about Dallas? They have Luka. He's Grift Boy Central.
That's true. They're probably higher. Let me check. They are. Last year they were. I'm trying to find them here. 11th. So
11th.
Yeah, that's better.
Yeah. Dallas was better. Look, we're not going to be 29th. Come on, we have KD.
Yeah.
I have to.
They're going to play more minutes, right? Yeah, that's the big thing. But yeah,
and also I don't know if he can make them, but Nurkic, when he returns, he gets fouled a decent amount.
He does. It's true because people know to try to contest him at the rim.
Yeah, part of that is they want to contest him at the rim. They think they can block his shot, or they're just saying to themselves that he can't make free throws, so send him to the line. Which fine, but that counts as a free throw attempt. That counts towards the stat we're talking about, right? Oso, if he plays, I promise not to shit on the floater too much, but dude, if you're going to take that floater every time, you're never going to get to the free throw line for sure. So there's that element of it. But Nurkic gets fouled, Book gets fouled, KD gets fouled.
Plumlee can't shoot free throws, but he does. He 70% with his left hand.
Can.
Don't get me wrong. Yeah. He's doing fine, but how much
Plumlee
shoots 70% is a different question.
Plumlee shoots 70%. With his left hand is the one that's the Ish Wainwright tried out for the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty crazy. They're
going to quote it every single national TV game when Mason Plumlee's at the line. Whoever that announcer is going to be saying, "Did you know a couple years ago he switched to his left hand and he shot 70% in the last 2 years?" Regardless of what his percentage is going to end up being this year. I'm just going down the line of our roster now. Grayson he'll get some free throws, an average amount of free throws for his position. Yeah. Royce does not get to the free throw line.
Yeah, Tyus probably not really either, right?
Tyus probably not really. Monte probably not really. Yeah, man. I mean,
Brad drives.
He does.
So Brad could get there, and he could potentially get there more. Josh Okogie tries to draw them. They're going to call less of those types, the Josh Okogie types of free throws fouls that he used to get, which is just jumping into guys at the rim. They're clearly going to call that less this year.
I just think if you have
initiated by the offensive player.
If you have a superstar on the level of KD, and I recognize he's not the driving threat he used to be, not by any stretch, but
but the name matters for refs. How famous you are matters for refs.
I can't really imagine this team being worse than league average in this stat.
I could see it being around league average is what I think.
Yeah, I think that's totally
15th,
acceptable.
14th, something like that is
They're not going to be 29th.
Yeah, and I don't think they're going to be top 10 though. 6th was really high last year. It didn't feel like that throughout the season, but maybe they will. I don't know. Maybe that's the difference Kevin Durant makes, and that's all it'll take.
Another rousing success for Frank Vogel. You got to give him that one. They took free throws. They were 6th in free throw attempts per game.
Okay, let's see. Of the players who will play on the roster next year, the player with the 4th most assists per game has been Oso Ighodaro. Is that
You're
real
asking?
Or fake? Yeah. Is that real? So we're talking Tyus Jones, Monte Morris, and Devin Booker are the other ones. And then Oso Ighodaro is 4th.
I mean, for the regular season, it's going to be fake because he's not going to play enough time. We're talking assists per game or assists per minute. Like, how do you want to do it?
Assists per game is what I have. So
okay, so if we're just talking assists per game, that's probably going to shake out like this year. I mean, I'm assuming Oso is going to be like a 10 to 15 minute per game backup at the start, at least. Do you really you think he's going to be a 30 minute per game starter at some point this season?
No,
because that's what it would take for him to get.
How many
4 or
minutes
5
has he really
assists.
played, though? I don't know. But you know what I realized? Yeah, I mean, more than he'll play in the regular season, for sure. What I realized watching the last few games, too, because like part of when you're watching Ryan Dunn play is for me at least, thinking, is it possible he gets up to 25, 26, 27, and then maybe towards the end of the season 30 minutes per game if he plays really well? But how do they get there if he comes off the bench? One of the things I realized that's happened, and it could entirely be because of the Nurkic injury, is that when KD was playing, they went without a center with Ryan Dunn on the floor quite a bit. They were very willing to do that. It was something that Bud was willing to do right away. And part of me was thinking, okay, Ryan Dunn eliminates some of the minutes for backup centers more than I realized.
A little bit.
If Mason Plumlee struggles, I'm not sure how much he will. Maybe he's going to be great in the regular season. But if he does, put Ryan Dunn in there. Play with KD at center. I don't know how much
the Mason experience has been iffy so far.
Up and
we haven't
down,
really mentioned his name on this pod because I'm trying to give him a chance to acclimate. But
also, if you're at a point in the regular season where a game is close and you have the choice of putting Mason Plumlee, Oso Ighodaro, or Ryan Dunn in and playing small, I think Bud's going to pull that Ryan Dunn lever.
It depends on what I value. Now, I would point out that, you're right. They have played a few Ryan Dunn small minutes, but they've also played a bunch of like Frank Kaminsky minutes, and then they put Oso at the 4 next to him, right? So they've done a bunch of things, including playing those traditional bigs.
But the minutes that Ryan Dunn played at center were the ones where Kevin Durant was playing. You know what I mean? So yes, Frank Kaminsky is playing at center, but it's not when Kevin Durant's it's not when the guys who are playing in the regular season are on the floor. He was playing with the guys that are going to play. So that, to me, feels like it's going to translate a little bit more from that. Now, this one, of course, is about Oso Ighodaro, and I agree with you. I think expecting him to be 4th on the team in assists per game, honestly, it'll probably be Nurkic, because Nurkic was pretty good in that stat last year. Kevin Durant or Bradley Beal obviously can do better too.
I mean, think about it. So, Book, who's going to be first, Tyus or Book?
Probably Tyus, I think.
Probably Tyus. So, Tyus number 1, Book number 2, KD.
Yeah, probably not Monte
Or it could
Morris
be Beal. Could be Beal number 3.
It could be Beal. Yeah.
KD number 4.
I think it was KD last year.
Monte number 5, Nurk number 6. Like, there's so many playmakers on this team. Grayson Allen could be before Oso.
Grayson Allen. I don't believe in his passing.
He was pretty good last year.
I think he was pretty bad last year. I think he was sneaky bad last year.
He's a swing, playmaker.
Booker was second on the team last year. So, I'm sorry, Durant was second. Durant and Beal actually averaged the exact same amount of assists per game, 5 last year. And Booker obviously 6.9. I think Tyus Jones is probably going to be somewhere 7, 8, maybe 9 if things go really well with him on the floor. Assists per game, and I could see Booker being around 6.5. I don't see Booker's going down a ton, but I definitely see it going down a little bit.
Yeah.
And then after that, I think it's kind of a crapshoot. I don't really know. Bradley Beal seems like he's going to be at shooting guard the whole year. I don't know that he's going to get to 5. He played point guard for he's not 25 games last year. I don't think he's doing that this year. I hope he's not. It didn't go very well.
Yeah. I just don't see, there's not really a path for Oso to get to like the 5 assists per game or whatever it would take for this to be real. I do want to sneak in another little prompt here about him, though, just because I mentioned a second ago.
Sure.
They played him at power forward some minutes.
They did
in preseason.
Mostly with Frank on the floor, though.
Exactly. They try to do it when he's next to a big who shoots threes, which are in limited supply on this team. So it depends on a couple of things. Either Frank is still on the roster somehow, or more likely Nurkic is actually shooting and making threes, right? There has to be some way where they feel comfortable with the spacing, but I do want to ask you, Oso Ighodaro, power forward, real or fake?
Probably fake. Unless they have a big who shoots threes. I don't know if they can address that at some point in the regular season. It's tough to see them doing that. I think I saw somebody make a fake Jalen Smith, Royce O'Neal trade to the Chicago Bulls that I was like, oh, that's... I mean, if Ryan Dunn works, that's kind of interesting.
That is kind of interesting. I'll just say, like, from a defensive perspective, it is something to think about because, like, Oso can definitely... His body is perfect for the power forward position. Like, he can play there. He can play on the perimeter. He can switch on to guys. He'd be fine, I think. Maybe it would be a little bit of a learning curve as a guy who, if he's playing 90% of his minutes at center and Bud's scheme is so drop heavy, he has to get his bearings. I think that's actually kind of an underrated thing when you're a power forward center tweener. Depending on what the defensive scheme is demanding of you, there can be a massive, massive difference in the expectations of playing those two positions defensively. So that would be like something for Oso to learn kind of as he goes along. But like theoretically, could he do it if he's playing next to a center who shoots threes? Yeah, I think he could. The other option, though, is I don't think it's reasonable to expect Oso to start shooting threes. If we could see any evidence of like a 15-foot mid-range shot this year, that'd be great. That would be just lovely. Because right now it's not even
difference. Yeah,
it's not even just the 3-point shot. It's like Oso catches in the short roll 16 feet out, and like they're not guarding him there.
It would change the Suns' ability to play big because they don't have a lot of ways to play big at this point. But like, there's a world where you could play if Nurkic hits threes, you could play Nurkic, Oso, Ryan Dunn, KD, Devin Booker, or something. Like you could play an insanely huge lineup. At that point. And I don't know. Who knows if it's possible? It'd be really fascinating. There is a way to create space with passing, right? Because, players tend to come to the ball. So if you're good at playmaking the way that Oso is, there are ways to run plays, especially if you have guys in the dunker spot, where you could have a Draymond-style playmaker that doesn't really shoot threes but can create in different ways. But I'm not sure if Oso's capable of that. We haven't seen him used like that. I have one more thing for you.
Hit me.
There was an article written by Tim McMahon with ESPN. This is not one I prepared, but it was something that I wanted to end the podcast with either way.
I don't think I saw this actually.
So it's like an anonymous scout, which I don't know what that means.
Oh, fuck.
Right?
No, I did hear about this. All right, go ahead.
This is what he said about the Suns. They're going to have to effing outscore everybody. I'm reading this out loud, by the way. This guy does sound like a douchebag. Sorry. He said, defensively, they're going to be bad just with the pieces they have. They're going to be small as shit. Tyus, I don't think, is a good defender. Book fouls a ton. Brad is small. Kevin is a good defender, but he's going to be 37. And I think Nurk is one of the worst pick-and-roll defenders in the league. Defensively, they're going to be challenged, but offensively, they should be able to score. Bud's teams have scored. They've been good offensively. Are the Suns going to be terrible on defense?
Bud team's good offensively. It's phenomenal insight.
Yeah. And also, Kevin is a good defender, but he's going to be 37. And also, Nurk, worst pick-and-roll defenders in the league? What is he watching?
I think that's sort of him telling on himself there. That's what I was going to highlight, is the fact that Nurk was absolutely not one of the worst pick-and-roll defenders in the NBA last year.
Not
that
versatile.
Being said...
Don't get me wrong. He's not a versatile pick and roll
right,
defender,
but those are two different things.
Drop. Yeah,
and Bud specifically does not ask for versatility from his bigs. Kind of frustratingly so. I think it's going to be something I bring up a lot this year. But that's kind of the deal with Bud, so it is what it is. I think this is at least a good peek behind the curtain of, like, I don't doubt for a second that there are many executives and scouts and whoever else, people around the league are saying this about the Suns. And that's fine. You dig into any team and people are saying, you'll find haters for any team, right? Like I mean, I don't know. I'd be interested in hearing like what the haters have to say about OKC's roster construction right now. Probably just the fact that they're inexperienced, right? But it's like OKC's inexperienced. Minnesota just switched things up with the Randall and DiVincenzo trade. The Nuggets lost all of their depth. Dallas is, who knows how Klay Thompson is going to work out, right? Like all of these teams have doubters. And it makes sense that if you're going to doubt the Suns, you're going to do it on the basis of a couple of things. One, because you doubt the health of someone like Kevin Durant or Bradley Beal or whoever. And number two, that you don't believe that they have enough size to play effective defense. Mm-hmm. We'll see. Personally, I think this is fake. I think the Suns are going to be a worse defense than they were last year. I don't doubt that. But I think that they can keep it clean enough to be there with the contenders, right? If their offense plays to its potential. And also, that guy didn't even mention Ryan Dunn's name once.
Yeah. He doesn't scout college, I guess.
What does he really know?
I think there's a world where the Suns finish the same that they finished last year, but it's entirely because they turn the ball over way less.
That's honestly possible. And
yeah,
because Ryan Dunn is just that good.
Defense is worse, right? But the overall defensive rating is similar because there's just less opportunities for teams to score in transition on them, which happened so much to the Suns last year. And we'll see. That's something I really hope for. Anything else that stood out from preseason so far that you want to talk about? It's been a fun preseason. They're 3-1. Got demolished by the Pistons at home. We didn't talk about that one. I don't think it's necessary, but
I don't think it's necessary either. I think they're 3-1. They've done it increasingly without their important players, which is really good to see. We've gotten awesome vibes from the rookies. I think everyone who's played like meaningful minutes we probably mentioned in this pod. Is there anyone who we forgot to talk about?
No, I think
Damian Lee
struggled in the last game, but yeah.
Struggled in the last game, but we mentioned in his return he played well. Mostly it's just good to see him out there. I don't doubt his shooting. Okogie hasn't played the last couple games.
Devin Booker, ankle soreness. We didn't talk about that, but like I don't think it's anything serious.
It's a precaution with all the guys who are being held out. I'm not worried about any of them
me neither.
At this point.
The next game is one more preseason game against the Lakers, I believe, which we will do on playback. That is the plan for us, so join us
National TV game, so audio only.
Audio only. By the way, I meant to mention at the beginning of the podcast, ethicalhoops.com. Check it out. Merch. If you haven't checked it out already, there's a bunch of new stuff in there inspired by this new Suns team. Some inspired directly by Coach Bud himself, who seems to be doing a good job so far in this preseason. Ethicalhoops.com. Check out all our merch. Support us if you can. And if you want to join our Patreon, it's a good time. The season's about to start. We're going to have a Patreon episode midweek, and then we're going to have a season preview next week. And then the season starts right after that. So patreon.com/thetimeline. Join extra podcasts every week for $6 a month. You get an extra podcast. You can join us on Discord and our private Suns community. We appreciate you all for listening, and we'll be back very, very soon.
For over a century, Johnny Walker has shared its bold spirit with the game of golf. Now, crafted with Devereaux Golf, Johnny Walker introduces the Johnny Walker Blue Label-inspired Sunday Golf Bag, elevating the game with sleek design, Blue Label hues, and refined gold accents. Celebrate your hole-in-one with a premium Sunday bag crafted by Devereaux Golf. Submit proof of your achievement to johnnywalker.com/blue-in-1. Please drink responsibly.